you're ready.
The following is the agenda for the regular council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, Mayor and Council, a municipal corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on August 11, 2021, in the municipal building, consistent with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting will be open for public comment. Public comments may be made at designated times during the meeting and may be submitted in writing to be read aloud during the meeting. Comments to be read at the meeting must be submitted at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by email or to the clerk's office at 25 Lennox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, and must be of a length that can reasonably be read within the time limit for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In conformance with the Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board, published in Suburban Trends, and paid for same. I messed that up, but it's okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President DeLine is excused.
Excused, yes.
Councilman Begg.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilwoman Polidori is excused.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney, David Rutenberg, and our Borough Administrator, Kevin Boyle.
Okay, thank you. I have two quick updates. First, I didn't really want to, but I did another COVID update because people had been asking about the information. So let me just pull that up. As of Tuesday, August 10th, we have 14 new cases of the virus in Pompton Lakes over the last 2 weeks. More than half of the cases are children under 12 who at this point cannot get vaccinated. I'm relieved to report there have been no new related COVID deaths. Our vaccination rate for residents 12 and older is 75%. This is one of the highest percentages in Passaic County. Great job by all our residents. Let's try to get that percentage even higher. If you're still looking to receive a vaccination, please call the Wayne Health Department. You can go any day between 9 and 12 down in Wayne. Just show up and they'll give you a vaccination down there. Pompton Day is scheduled for Sunday, September 5th, rain day, September 6th. Our summer camp recently finished with no COVID cases reported from camp, and everyone had a great time. To date, the state has only changed the mask mandate in schools. Come September, all students, teachers, staff, and school visitors will be required to wear masks. We keep moving forward, and I hope the worst is behind us. Again, I thank all of our residents for taking this seriously and taking the steps needed to beat this virus. The town in the short future will be honoring all our wonderful first responder and town employees who fought this battle for all of us. I know we all take the time out to thank them. So that is an update. I also have a proclamation for ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer is called the silent disease because of its symptoms, whereas the ribbons tied and storefronts posted were provided jointly by the orders of the Eastern Star Mountain View Chapter number 205 and the fees by the Accepted Masons Genesee Lodge number 88, both who meet in Pompton Lakes at the Pompton Lakes with Masonic Hall. The Turn the Town Teal campaign was launched by Gail McNeil during her 10-year battle with ovarian cancer. Now, therefore, I, Michael Sarah, Mayor of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, in the County of Passaic, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month and support the Turn the Town Teal Awareness Campaign. We thank them for all the work they do for that. We've done that for the last couple of years. I don't know, are they putting up the...
They are putting up the teal ribbons, yes.
Okay, so they will be putting up the
town.
teal ribbons again, so if you do see them around town, that's what it's in reference to for ovarian cancer. Okay. Can I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
So moved.
Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Seeing no one?
Randy Himmett, 443 Montclair Ave. Any update on the, no feeding the deer signs? Did they come in, or?
Did we order them? Take some time. We're having problems with getting a lot of things right now, so.
Of course. Well, I mean, they're really not necessary until the fall, the winter. So that's just that question. Curious about the new boat we're getting. Do I have to Oprah the cost on that, or we can get an idea what all those costs are?
I think was it listed in one of our?
The capital budget, I'm thinking the boat itself was 50 or 60 grand. And then we had outfit, I don't remember what the answer was, but I think the boat itself was 50 or 60 grand by the first level.
And I heard the boat is coming the end of August?
It is, but right now the motors are still Maria, so the boat might be here, but there's no motors for it.
How fast can our police officers row?
Why?
So in other words, this new boat that we're getting is not here, and then the motors could be back ordered another couple of months, so we're not gonna get any use out of it at all this year.
Probably not, no.
And what was the cost of excavation of Lennox Avenue and the new boat dock?
That was 6 grand.
So
And that's something with it, so.
we're pushing 50 on that.
Are you asking these questions because you feel it wasn't needed, or you think it was needed?
I'm asking these questions because I feel it wasn't necessary.
So, I'm just asking, if there's an emergency on the lake and someone needs to be saved, you don't think that's an emergency enough to buy a boat to get them to safety?
Okay, so that's, you're presupposing in the future if there's an emergency. Councilman Bay, who quotes what's going on with the police department and the first aid squad for years now, there's never been an incident on the lake. Now, when I ask questions about,
That's not true.
has there been a death on the lake?
No deaths, no.
There's been no deaths.
No deaths.
It's been a long time since there's been a death. It has been drowned.
Over 40 years from what I understand.
So we don't have normal deaths in town. Normally, it is very unusual for us to have a death.
Well, what I'm saying is, yes, I just think it was an unreasonable, unnecessary expense. Pushing over 50,000 now, plus the training of 17 police officers on an 8-hour basis for the course they took. In response, a lot of the officers said they still don't know how to operate a boat because that wasn't in the 8 hours that they took.
I don't know that. I would believe that they
But,
would know how to operate a boat.
You know, we are pushing a lot of money for a boat. Now, what about scheduling of the officers to operate the boat?
That's up to the chief who determines that.
That's up to the chief to determine that. Now, their shifts run from 7 to 7. And what are we trying to catch, wave runners?
Lots of things, and let me just say, this was a recommendation by the chief to us. We didn't go to the chief asking for this. The chief came to us saying, we think we need this, especially during flood events, especially during ice emergencies, if kids are on the ice.
You can't use a motorboat on the
If
ice.
it's thin enough, you can.
Huh?
If it's thin ice, you
It's
can.
thin ice,
Yes.
yeah.
And then, of course, just regular rescues on the boats. Our lake, all the improvements we're doing to it, more people are using the lake. There's a lot more boats on the lake, a lot more kayaks, a lot more canoes, and they need a way to get to them fast if something was to happen. If somebody sees something from the land, calls the police, I can't swim, unfortunately, someone can't swim, by the time the police get there, it could be a problem.
Do all the police officers on our force all swim? A lot of them.
I don't know the answer
Well,
to
that's
that.
another question. You know, you're not going to put a policeman on a boat that doesn't know how to swim.
I don't know the
And
answer.
then you're going to at least have to have 2 officers.
I would bet to say that most of them swim. I can't swear to that.
Well, it's still, even with a life jacket, you wouldn't put somebody in that can't swim.
I would think that if a person is not swimming, they're not putting them on the boat. That would be just my idea, but I'm not running that department. But if they say they can't swim, they shouldn't be on a boat.
You know that I grew up in town, you know that I volunteer for the Shade Tree Commission, and I'm talking to police, I'm talking to all kinds of people. You know I like to ask questions, and I've asked a lot of questions, and responses were all negative. There's no reason for this.
So the police department told you there was no reason for a boat.
No, not the police chief. You said the chief. I didn't talk to the chief.
Okay.
I've just talked to other officers, I've talked to other residents.
Well, the officers don't run the department, the chief does.
Officers would be on the boat.
That doesn't matter. The chief makes them do whatever they need to do.
I just think it's an unnecessary
Okay.
expense. And that's my opinion,
That's your opinion.
okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
Second, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approval of minutes, regular meeting minutes of July 14th, 2021. Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Councilwoman Kent?
Second.
Second, Riker.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Bills and claims as listed below. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman
Motion,
Begg,
Riker.
Councilman Begg, Councilman Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Consent agenda, anybody need anything pulled or questions? Okay, Liz, seeing none?
Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, and whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes does not desire to move resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now therefore be resolved, the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 21-203 through 21-212.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Councilwoman Kent,
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, introduction of our first readings, whenever you're ready.
Ordinance 21-22, the second reading and final adoption is on September 1st, 2021. An ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Pompton Lakes and amending various traffic restrictions.
Okay, can I have a motion to ordinance 2122 for introduction?
Motion.
Councilman Begg,
Second?
Councilwoman Kent, roll call, please. Wow.
I don't know what that was.
That was lightning.
Surge.
Yeah, that was a surge.
Councilman Bay.
Councilman Begg?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, ordinance 21-23.
An ordinance establishing specific penalties for the violation of certain municipal ordinances.
Motion to approve ordinance 2123 for introduction.
Motion, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker,
Second.
Councilman Begg, roll call, please.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Up to my report. Okay. Under my report, I don't know if it was mentioned at our last meeting, I did attend the EPA had a Zoom meeting with any concerned residents in town about the continued work on the DuPont or Comores property. Unfortunately, there was not a lot of residents on the call. Myself were on it. Councilwoman Kent was on it with me. I think it was a good discussion. I think there was a lot of good comments made. I did tell the group of people there that we would help them publicize any type of meeting that the EPA is going to have any way we can. We have certain vehicles to do that through Channel 77 or the board out front or whatever. So I think their biggest concern right now with the EPA is that they want to get the word out when they have any type of news. So that's their biggest hurdle. The EPA and the DEP, well, I won't say the DEP. The EPA will be here. Have they been coming on Thursdays? Yep, so they're here every Thursday, usually around 9 to 4, 9 to 3:30. Any resident is welcome to come in. You do not have to make an appointment to come in to speak to them. You can speak to them about concerns with Comores. You can speak to them about concerns you have just in general with the EPA. If they can help you, they will answer you. I can tell you that, especially the EPA, the dedication of the two people here, Pat and Perry, that do a lot of our work is admirable. They're working a lot of different cases, but they're in Pompton Lakes at least once a week. Sometimes there's no residents, sometimes there's 5. So I give them a lot of credit to trying to get the word out as best they can. Also, we had a camp. Our camp went very well. We had a record number of kids at our camp. We had a lot of great programs that ran, and I thank everyone from counselors up who did the program. Knock on wood, we had no virus concerns, which was great to hear. And the kids were masked and they did the right things when they had to, and unmasked when they were running around outside. They seemed to all have a good time, so I'm glad that we got that off, which leads us to our next event, which is Pompton Day. We are working hard to bring Pompton Day back. We expect bigger crowds because people are looking to get out and do some things and be involved. This year we'll be adding a professional wrestling squad onto, Hirschfield Park, onto Lakeside Park. They're bringing a whole ring with a wrestling group. It'll be exciting. They'll have different shows, culminating in a grand show, I guess, when all the wrestlers go and fight together. So we'll see how that goes. But it will be the first time we're doing that. I thank our Recreation Department for putting all that together. Remember, that is September 5th, usually starting around 11 until about 5, and then fireworks follow at 8:45 at night on Lakeside Bridge. All are welcome. There is no charge. This year, one of the added things for any seniors that were interested, the Elks will be providing parking at a small cost, especially for seniors or handicapped, where they could park over on their property and just walk right into the festival from that side. You know, normally, and I've been doing this for a long time with this event, I try to pick up as many people as I can and bring them in with the golf carts, but sometimes when it's crowded, it gets overwhelming. So I think this is a great solution for the seniors and their handicaps that are looking to go to the event. And the biggest concern I hear when I'm there is they have no problem getting in. They walk the whole festival, they have a great time, and then on the way out, they're very tired, they can't walk back to their cars. That's the problem. So I think this will be a great thing. I think the Elks are doing that. They will also be serving food this year at the Elks building also, which is another nice thing to see. So hopefully it's a bigger and better event, and things will move forward with that. It's been a quiet time in Town Hall because of the summer months. We've had a lot of meetings, but most of the meetings are back to in person at this time. There's only a few that are still doing Zoom, and I think they will be changing soon back to in person. That being said, you know, the virus is still out there, and I do recommend that people get vaccinated. So if you're not vaccinated, really, you should rethink about why you're not vaccinated. And, you know, I understand people have concerns and reasons, but at the end of the day, you're protecting everybody, not just yourself. So, you know, and I'm so happy to see our town at 75%. That's a great number. So that shows that the majority of people are following the rules here, which is nice to see. Okay, that is my report. Who's next on my list? Councilwoman Riker.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just briefly, as Chair of Finance, you often hear me during my report thanking the members of Finance for signing the bills on a monthly basis. And I just want to thank Councilman Bay for doing this month along with me. This month was particularly large batch, but there are a couple of issues that have come up through Finance that I just wanted to share with the group. The first is the upcoming Municipal League of Municipalities Conference. Back in the day, quite a few years ago, Liz used to make our hotel reservations, and there was very little submission on the part of council people for their expenses of the event. She would register us, she would get our hotels, and then there would just be some incidentals. Things have changed. People are making their own arrangements for various reasons. So Kevin and I have been talking, I think he's spoken with the mayor as well, that the proposal is that we will agree as a group that the council will pay, in addition to the fee to register, which Liz does take care of, that the council will be entitled to reimbursement for their housing, their parking, and their mileage to and from the meeting, not to exceed $500. So if someone wants to stay really nice, they know that the excess will be borne by themselves. I don't think we need a resolution to that, but I think there needs to be some discussion just so the expectations on the part of all the council people are understood and everybody is free to make their plans. Because now is the time, I think, where you need to make your plans and make reservations for the meeting.
Yeah, I had spoken to Liz about it before, and we had set a number at $150 for hotel room per night. Not to go over that, but if you want to do a $500, this is the first I'm hearing of it, so I didn't hear it from you about this. That's okay with me. I'm fine with that.
Well, Kevin and I bounced a lot of different ways, and the way that you're proposing is perfectly acceptable if you want to go that route. It's just, we thought because people's circumstances vary so much in terms of how they want to stay, who's comping them, not comping them, and it really doesn't matter to me. I'm just looking for some consistency in the policy. So would you prefer to have a $300 limit, $150 per night, hotel limit plus parking and mileage?
Right, but
And
most of the hotel casinos provide parking, so that's, you don't have to pay for parking normally.
Oh, no, the parking's expensive, Mike. The parking runs about $25 a day.
Yes, if you don't have a member's card, and anybody can get one, it's free. But okay, yes, if you have to pay for parking, we would pay for that. But normally, I don't think we put in a lot of parking receipts for that. And the gas mileage back and forth, yes. Unless somebody has a different. Anybody else have a different?
So I need some input from you or Kevin or how you want to handle this. Just
comes to the fact that I've been following Phil's for over a decade. That seems to be the high water mark. We had a couple of issues where they kind of started that, and that was a concern that we had. So that included, 2 or 3 nights in the hotel room, included. So we felt $500 would be a reasonable cap.
I'm okay with that. I'm fine. I have no issue with that. I don't care what you guys want. Whatever you guys want. 500 is fine. Bill? Yeah. Maria?
I'm fine with that.
All right, 500 is fine. I don't think anybody should be going over 500, to be honest. I just made my reservations and it was $80 a night, so.
No, they absolutely shouldn't, but we did have issues last year where it got a little excessive, so we realized it was time for a policy. And the expectation is it's hotel parking and mileage, we're not picking up deals or anything like that. Everyone will do that on their own.
Correct.
Is that fair?
That's the same, yes, it's been in the past, yes.
I'll do it though, Council, whenever it's a policy.
Okay, thank you. There's something else that also I want to bring to the council's attention, again, under the heading of finance. The large amount of bills that are signed come primarily from either DPW, police, Kevin, and Liz, in order to run the functioning of the borough. However, in addition to that, we do get some frequent requests for reimbursement or requests for purchasing from our groups. Whether it's, I know Randy, I heard him speak, whether it's Shade Tree, whether it's seniors, whether it's rec. And we're having a problem with the groups. I think Kevin has reached out to the chair of each group to let them know that the proper way for the borough to pay is for him to issue a purchase order, and then the expense will be paid. Many of the groups are not following this, and for lack of a better expression, some of them are going rogue, and they're putting in for all sorts of reimbursements that haven't been approved, that are somewhat questionable. And what I'm asking the council people who are there, and perhaps will be reflected in the minutes, is that whatever group you are liaison to, and if they have a budget and they are putting in for expenses, would you please remind them that the expectation is that they need to work with Kevin ahead of time, get their purchase order, get their approvals, and things would be, the reimbursement process will be much, much smoother. And I think they've heard it from Kevin. Sometimes they've heard it from me in terms of my bouncing back invoices. But I think they need to hear it from whatever group you're liaisoning to, so that they realize that we're serious about this, and there's a proper way to do it, and there's not a proper way to do it. And we don't want anyone to have to pay money out of their own where they're doing something for the benefit of the borough, but they need to do it according to oil. And things have gotten really pretty sloppy with the group. So,
Terry, I'll agree with that, and I have no issue with that, but that also goes for the for our council people too. I am supposed to be copied on all correspondence with everyone. So if there's any correspondence going on between you and Kevin, I need to be copied on that. I have not been in these last couple things you're talking about. So, right, so if there's correspondence in written, please copy me on those things. And same thing with these requests that are being put in. If we're paying vouchers for things that don't have POs on them, then we have an issue with that. I know the only group that might have a concern is recreation, sometimes has to buy things, but everyone else should be having a PO. And if they don't, that has to be brought to somebody's attention, yes.
And they are not. So
Okay.
that's why and I don't really want to publicly single people out specifically, but we really do have a problem. And it's not just recreation, and recreation also can tighten it up in terms of what they're doing.
All right, so we'll work with the groups to do that, yes.
So I would really appreciate whatever council people can do to help us. That would really make things go smoothly. So both of my comments, quite frankly, are procedural tonight. So that's really all I have to report.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have to report is that there is a trails maintenance, summer maintenance this Sunday, August 15th. We're meeting at 9 a.m. in the back parking lot of Willow Field to get our assignments, and we go disperse and do our thing.
And you guys do a good thing. Let me just say, you guys do a lot of work with that. I will give you credit. There's a lot of work going on by that group of all those volunteers. So I thank them all, because it's not a once-a-year thing you guys do. You do it how many times a year?
Twice each season, so
Yeah.
8 times.
It's a lot.
Oh, one more thing, Mayor. Eagle Scout candidate, Gregory DeBoer, finished his project, and his project was to do gravel underneath the benches along the Morse Canal Greenway, which would tend to get overgrown with weeds and would have to be weed whacked or whatnot. And Gregory did a great job. It looks phenomenal. There's some tightening up to do, but overall, it looks great.
Good. I forgot to mention in my report, I have some good news. I had a conversation with Carmela in the theater today, and they will be opening the theater again downtown for at least a year. They did get some of the grants that the federal government and the state put together, and we might be supplying them with a grant ourselves if we can get to that. But the good news is, believe it or not, the governor's office called her yesterday, and she spoke to the governor, and she's going to be highlighted on the next report. The governor does his reports, if you watch them on Channel 12, and he always picks one business to highlight who's had a tough time through the pandemic. Well, it's going to be the theater in Pompton Lakes, which is great to see. So she actually had a nice conversation with him, and he actually said to her, I'm an actor at heart, I support the theater, anything I can do to make it work. She was very excited to have the call. She gave them all the paperwork, so I don't know if it's going to be this Monday. I understand, because I do watch every one of the reports. He's supposed to be away this Monday, so I don't know if he's doing one, but it would either be this Monday or the following Monday that they'll be highlighting Pompton Lakes and the theater, which is nice to see. She also said that we will be having her first real show will be Shrek, and it should be in the middle of September sometime, and she's hoping everybody comes and supports it and gets her back up and running. It's been a tough time for all theaters, not just ours, but all theaters, and that getting people back in the seats. So she's very excited to be back and trying to do what she loves to do. So I thought that was interesting news. Councilman Begg.
Thank you. I received the Pompton Lakes Riverdale First Aid Squad report for the month of July from Chief Ken Arazi. There were 64 calls for service for the month of July. There were 26 calls in Pompton Lakes, 24 in Riverdale, 9 duty calls in Wanakee. There were 35 medical emergency calls, 12 trauma injury calls, no CPR calls, 7 motor vehicle accident calls, no fire calls. I received the Pompton Lakes Police Department report for the month of July 2021 from Chief Derek Clark. There were 2,413 calls for service for the month of July. There were 550 motor vehicle stops, 360 summonses issued, 2 DWI arrests, 21 motor vehicle accidents investigated, 46 ambulance requests, 18 alarm conditions burglary, 5 alarm conditions fire, 1 burglary, 3 thefts, no sexual assaults, no aggravated assaults, 12 domestic violence investigations. The Detective Bureau investigated 11 complaints, conducted 12 background checks for firearms permits, completed 10 name checks for background into the PDs and military, and completed 1 raffle application. CERT Supervisor Deborah Ross reports that the CERT team had a total of 36.25 hours for the month of July 2021. I received the Pompton Lakes Fire Department report from Fire Prevention Chief John Keating. He reports that there were 33 alarms for the month of July 2021 and a total of 192 so far for the year. And that's my report.
Thank you. I should throw in a plug, now we're getting through this virus, hopefully, we're always looking for help, and we have a great volunteer system with our volunteer fire department and volunteer first aid squad. We have 2 of the bigger groups in the area, but they're always looking for members, they're always looking for help. There's 2 great organizations to be involved in. They do a lot for the town, but plus they're a great group of people that you're hanging out with in both of those 2 groups. So if you're interested, contact the Borough Hall, or you can contact myself, and we'll hook you up with the people that need to and help me, Councilman Begg. If you want to join the first aid squad, they will pay for all the licensing, or how does that work?
I don't know that they will or not. They may reimburse you later on.
Okay. Okay, Councilwoman Ken.
Good evening. I have a motion to approve the request of the Knights of Columbus and St. Mary's Parish for Blessed Car Wash held at St. Mary's parking lot on Saturday, September 21st, 2021, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and rain date is Saturday, September 25th, 2021, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Police, fire, first aid to be notified.
You can read both of them, and then we'll do both.
Okay. And I have a motion to approve the request of Nancy and Fiorella Passano, surrounding neighbors and relatives, to host a block party at 127 Edwards Avenue on September 18th, 2021, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, police, fire, first aid to be notified.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Councilman Begg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Okay. I was on the call with the mayor, with the US EPA folks, and I won't go through that, but it was very uplifting, and they are looking to, I guess, go over different ways of bringing the public in, and they were very professional group, and we had, I think, a very good meeting with that, and I'm looking forward to the next one. So look on Channel 77. They're going to start posting that the next time. They're going to try to do that so that our residents know what's going on. I attended a recreation meeting, and of course, the big deal right now is getting the Pompton Day together. We have fireworks, and Mayor mentioned most of this. The parking at the Elks is $5, and I believe it might be a little adjusted for seniors. Maybe $4. I think they were going to make an adjustment on that, but it's definitely $5. But it's worth the money to park your car and not have to walk all over town, because you can't find a place to walk. There's still ways of applying for the 5K run, and please support the duck raffle. The wrestlers are going to be outrageously fun to watch, and we have a fishing derby. And then of course the fireworks at 8:30 at the lake. So. I also attended the FAB meeting, which is the Flood Advisory Board meeting. We had to cancel the photo contest, so anybody who was going to apply their photos, we had to cancel that. So, sorry, but next year we'll see if we can pick that up. And then we also had updates on, we had drones fly over the rivers. And unfortunately, because there was so much foliage, I don't think it went the way it was supposed to go, so we're going to have to revisit that, I think. Okay. A couple social media issues came to my attention this month. Evidently, when the tree in Lakeside Park was removed, there was a handicap parking sign on that.
Let's talk about that. It was never official handicap. Someone just posted that up there by themselves.
Okay.
So it's not official.
But the handicapped people that were parking there contacted me, and I said we would bring it up. I don't know what we can do for parking.
That's a whole
It's a whole
police
thing.
department thing, yeah.
So it's something that we, I think, have to take a look at.
We'll take a look at it, yeah.
Okay, I promised I would bring it up.
Yep.
The other thing, the trails, they're wonderful, but ATV folks seem to still want to go out there and abuse them. I had a gentleman who is a big trail maintenance guy, and he's there all the time. He wants to know if we can put big boulders at the beginning, at the entrances of some of these these trails, and then that way
We've tried that on other things. They just go around the boulders. We did it at Willow Field, and they tore down the fence and just went around.
Okay, because there was a number of places where I walked with him, and he showed me where they come in and go out. It's a police issue, because we do have an ordinance against using ATVs.
And DuPont and Chemours has called me. They're really destroying the property that Chemours owns on that side.
Yeah.
And they actually put up locked fences with gates.
And they still come through.
And they cut the gates and they cut the locks.
They cut the
They're actually
locks.
cutting holes through the fence to go through. And he said the same thing. We need help here. And I said, really, the only thing that can happen, and it's very difficult, you put up cameras, but then you have to catch them in the act while they're doing it on the property. So even if you get the call, they're gone before you get there. It's a very difficult thing to.
It is, and it's difficult down the south end, just as hard.
Yeah.
But just so you know, it's illegal to.
Yes, it is totally illegal
It's
to
illegal
ride.
I don't want people to
ATV
understand
in the street and anywhere else.
Yeah.
ATVs are not legal devices on streets or in public property.
Okay, so thank you. And then, we had a complaint about Katie Cole Park. It's in a little disarray. I talked to, Councilman, Venon about, how maybe the maintenance of that. The DPW do a great job in this town, and I support them 100%, and it seems like every time we turn around, we're always asking them to do another job, so, but Katie is concerned, her name's on it, and it's not pretty
So
anymore.
I spoke to Katie,
Okay.
and we have a plan in place there. The problem is the manpower that we have in the DPW right now is limited. Example, we had numerous employees call out sick on Monday, so they have to do the garbage and recycling first, and things get pushed to the side. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, there is a plan in place.
And actually, Dan has tried a number of times. We had the heavy windstorm that knocked the plans from the game plan, but we replaced and fixed all the lights down there that were there, and we're working on putting together the plantings. Dan does have the planting scheme together. He just needs the time and the manpower to put the plants in the ground.
Okay, there's a number of residents that are gonna meet there on Friday. They've decided to meet because they don't want to see it anymore. They've asked that I attend. I said I would attend. They reached out to me, and I will get back to you about how they, I asked, tell me what you recommend, because,
Right, and Katie put that in the email, and I spoke to
Yes.
Katie.
okay.
It's just an advisory group of
Citizens. Mhm.
and they would come to a council meeting if they felt they need to bring it up. That's what she
Yeah,
said.
and they might, but right now they kind of went to social media.
Well, I don't know if, what I'm trying to say is you're welcome to attend it, but I think it's a citizens group more than a town group.
Yeah, it's a citizen.
So, you can attend as a citizen, I guess, if you want.
Yeah, and that'd be
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
Because I helped support that way back when we.
Yeah, no, we all wanted it to look good, and it's,
Yeah.
it's a new park there, and it takes time to get it in.
What's the entrance to the south end? I mean, it is.
Let's talk about that a little bit, and unfortunately, Kevin knows this because he's the one that did. We are the ones, Kevin is the one who reached out to the county to get the bridge painted for a short time and the trees cut. Yes, another resident did call after the fact, but we did reach out before, and understand they're redoing that whole area in the next year. So that's why they didn't want to put a lot of time and energy and money into it. They're redoing that whole bridge. But through a little pressure from the resident and from Kevin, they went and said, we'll paint it temporarily for the next 6 months, cut back the bush a little bit until we get down there. So that's how the bridge part of it was taken care of.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I
So
appreciate that.
the park part of it is it's the aftermath of, like I said, there is a plan in place for that. And Dan has it, and he's talked with Mike Simone, who was the one who's
Right,
spearheaded this whole thing.
right.
We replaced the lights, we replaced the benches, we cut with the help of shade tree, we removed a lot of the bigger trees that were in that area there. So it's in progress. It's taken us about a year to get to that point. So hopefully there'll be more, but if they have a great suggestion, I saw some of the suggestions about certain types of plants or perennials or whatever.
Yep.
I'm sure Dan could work that in if you didn't bother yet. That's all.
Okay, all right, that'd be fine. And, I had a issue or a complaint, regarding the paddle boats. They're broken. One family went out on the paddle boat, and they almost got stuck out in the lake. I guess they're old, we need to buy new ones.
So
We don't-
this is a problem I've had in the past, and you happen to be the liaison.
Mhm, Right, that's,
They need to, as a recreation group, not tinker with things and try to fix them, but when things break, just buy new ones. You know, instead of trying to repair an old kayak, let's just go buy a new kayak. Same thing with these paddle boats. They've been repaired a couple times. I've spoken to Kevin, he's gotten some quotes on them, they're not expensive. Let's just buy new ones, you know, and that would, I would hope you would bring that back to the rec department,
I will.
okay? And let's not try to fix them anymore,
No.
let's just buy new ones.
They have to be seaworthy,
Correct.
even in the lake. Yes, they have
Correct.
to be-
You know, and I know they're trying to save a dollar, and I give them credit for that. but
Oh,
at some-
yeah, they're
at
very
some
conscious
point,
of their,
They're very
their
conscious of it,
purchases,
but let's
yes.
just buy new and go from there.
I will bring that back to them.
And by the way, they can always reach out to Kevin and say, hey, look, I need 2 boats, this is how much it costs, and this is, we'll look into it.
And that's fine too, because if we have to do it out of a different budget,
That's why I
capital
thought
budget,
this
we'll
year.
just do it.
That
Yeah,
worked.
right. Okay, but I wanted to bring that to you. And, I also had a complaint about people buying the wrong size garbage cans for their home. And I'm gonna ask everyone, before you buy a garbage can, that's this big monster, 50 gallons, 60 gallons, please look at the calendar. It's clearly described what size can is allowed. It's very clearly described. The homeowner was very upset, you know, they spent a lot of money on these, bear-proof or raccoon-proof cans. The raccoons can be a problem, I have them myself. But the bottom line is that the men are picking these cans up. We don't have those garbage cups that have the arm, so we have to stick with that, and we can't make, we can't just say one family can use their cans and one family can't. Has to be consistent.
That's a key point to everything you just said, it's consistency on everything. If we let one person say it, then everybody's gonna wanna do it. And it's a workman's comp issue, you know, we have these garbage guys out there all day on a hot day like today,
Oh.
picking up hundreds of cans. They
Yeah.
can't pick up cans that weigh 75 pounds and expect not to get injured on that. So we have to keep it to a weight that they can lift and they can put in the truck, and this has all been done, you know, proven on what sizes are the best and not best. And you're right, it's in the calendar. You can always call Borough Hall if they have a question about it. I get those calls constantly. I bought this can, it cost me $122. I said, well, you can always return the can and get the right size can. That's the best I can tell you right now.
Yeah, okay, so that's just in case you get feedback on that.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
how I address that.
Yeah, fine.
And the other concern that I'm having with is, and I don't know if it'll affect Pompton and it'll affect the new construction of the beautiful Meridian program that we have, is this new policy, you mentioned the governor, you know, that they don't have to pay your landlord your rent. If you don't pay your rent, how's your landlord gonna pay his taxes? That's gonna be a trickle-down effect. Kevin's mentioned a few times, we've been pretty lucky with homes, but how that's gonna work with landlords and tenants not paying rent to the landlord, and how are they gonna pay that tax to Pompton Lakes? I'm concerned about that. So, yeah, it's nice to give kudos to Carmela and the theater, it really is, but we have real issues.
Well, that's above
Real
our pay,
issues.
that's above our pay grade, whatever they
It
do.
is.
But there are both federal and state programs that help cover those costs, that go back to the beginning of the pandemic. The federal government, under the CARES Act, and the state of New Jersey, and even the county of Passaic has had these programs you can apply for, and we've sent these bulletins out to get funding to help landlords and tenants try to be halfway from the beginning of the pandemic. The program's out there, people have to do the research.
So they would help the landlords as well as the tenants?
Yeah, there's programs that help landlords, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah, so there's certain criteria for each group, but I think this last round of funding, there was more put in for landlords, if I'm correct. I think there was more put in for landlords, but it's a short-term thing. I think it's 1 or 2 months, and then they reevaluate again in 1 or 2 months. You know, it's a problem. It's, what you're talking about is a problem, you know. Hopefully, people do the right thing. That's all I can say.
We have a lot of rentals in town.
Sure.
And the landlords are depending on that to pay their taxes, so I don't want to, you know, it's, like I said, trickle-down effect. Okay, and that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, professional report.
It's been a quiet month, other than we did issue a notice of intention to declare default with our contractor on Colfax Ave, and I'm assuming that worked. Did they get the job done?
They
It's
did,
complete now, we have to come back to a punch list, but it's sufficient.
Good.
but it took a little prodding in the side to make that happen.
Sometimes that's all it takes, but
That's it?
good news. Yeah, that's really it. Otherwise, fairly quiet month.
Okay. The minister's report.
I have a couple things, Mayor. First, we've been working with Mazer, now Collier's, engineering and planning to do an open space and recreation master plan, review and an update, and we're going to be sending that outline to the particular boards and commissions that were involved to get their feedback to try to finalize that. We had a number of meetings with liaisons and chair people, and now we're going to send it out to the whole committees for their response and we can finalize that. As Councilman Delay mentioned, last meeting, we received $10,000 grant from PSCNG to do work along rivers, plantings and so forth with the Rutgers Extension Institute. That money will be put into the 2022 budget for utilization. We installed lines on the tennis court next to the dog park to allow pickleball play. $600. We have a lot of people calling about playing pickleball. It seems to be a very big sport, especially with the senior citizens. And so that park court is not going to be a pickleball and tennis joint, but is now allowed for pickleball. As I mentioned, Colfax Ave is substantially complete. The Pompton construction project, which began on July 30th, will now be suspended effective today. The contractor cannot get pipe, and he feels bad about that. He did provide a letter from his vendor. The pipe is not available. And that if he would know that before it began, because if the vendor told him this pipe would be available, he would never start the project. But that's something we're concerned about, because I mentioned that Dave Culp was doing work on a outfall on James Terrace. And we actually had to go to the county to get some pipe from the county because Dave couldn't find pipe to do the outfall work. So it's become a problem all along in terms of different things, in terms of getting materials, like talk about signs, things of that nature. Randy's looking for deer protections that we ordered. They're still in process and things of that nature. So it's becoming a supply chain problem across the board. Our annual catch basin repair program has been completed, which is a good thing. Some of those repairs will be to help when we do the paving Lincoln Ave, and also other projects we're planning for next year. We got to take off the books because of the pothole. The fire department has informed us that they are getting ready to recommend the purchase of a new platform ladder truck. The truck we have now is 20 years old. It's starting to have some major repair needed, and it makes sense to move forward. So that truck, at this point in time, will run around $1.5 million. No chunk change, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the truck.
That being said, I talked to the bond council and the auditors relative to debt service issues. My concern is budget and debt, and their feeling is, we deal with it, and then we do permanent financing down the road. We will then relevelize the debt service that way. So we may have a little tick up on the annual interest costs for a few years, but we do the long-term debt. After I'm retired, they'll work that out so that kind of stays levelized. But they don't believe it's worthwhile to try to not get the vehicle. It makes sense.
So it's 20, I think the fire truck is 23 years old now, and it's going to take
November was 20.
Yeah, I think it's 23, and they're going to take another year at least, maybe more, to build it.
Again, we haven't gotten that far. We still have to wait for the fire department to finalize the design. We have to go, we have to do resolution approving it, be part of the co-op with the ordinances. And so the hope is to get this thing solidified by the end of the year, because next year the price of the truck goes up to 3.5%. Right. And the escalate's going to be out there, so you want to try to save yourself 3.5% on 1.5 million becomes a decent hit to the budget. So we're working with the fire department on that. The American Recovery Plan, our support of our community program, we're going to start awarding grants in September. Just waiting for the money to be put into the budget, and then we're going to start the process of doing the lottery for funding. Everybody in the business district who has the ability to be in the lottery potentially get $5,000. So we're working on that. The library restroom addition, the county finally reviewed and approved those plans. The issue there is this is a community development block grant program, which is a federally funded program. So the county has to send these out to the consultant to make sure we meet all the federal criteria for language, all those wonderful things that we put legally in the bid specs to make this work. It's not just a guy put out budget for a big job. It's a hybrid bid spec. That being said, though, they're now back. We're going to receive bids as of right now, on September 30th, hopefully to award at our October meeting. And then Greenwood Avenue, the county projects, the concrete work that's supposed to be for the curb ramps has been delayed, but that's worse. The worst of it is now the whole road project will probably be brought a year. When we had the pre-construction meeting, PSC&G has said to us that they're designing a gas main that's going to come up off Pembroke Turnpike, go about 150 feet up Greenwood Avenue. And that was going to be done in 2023. Well, I guess they have great design people, because now they decide they want to do it now. And so that now put the county on hold for at least another year. That being said, you and I talked, I reached out to Norton Murphy from the county saying what they could do at least for that corner by the church, which is now sinking, while we wait for another year for them to be able to repave the road. So it's unfortunate, but the county wasn't happy. I know Smith Sunday's not happy because they were a little better. I'm not sure that does to them, but that being said, that's my update.
Okay, so let's take I have a couple questions. So, yes, I was disappointed to hear they're not going to resurface Ringwood Avenue right away. I understand PSEG might have messed that up, but I did bring up the fact that that corner is sunken, and it does have to be repaired now. We can't wait a year.
No, I talked to
and because those trucks, those tandem trucks are going over there, making it worse every single day.
I talked to
So that's good that we're doing that. The Support the Community Grant, let's talk about that a little bit just for the public's concern. You know, in the second round of federal funding we decided as a borough that we've bought most of the things we need to fight COVID already in the first round. And why not try to help our downtown businesses a little bit? So with that, we came up with a plan, hiring a company that will be handling this. The town will not be involved in this. It will be an outside organization handling a lottery system that as many $5,000 grants as we can give, we will give. So any business that's downtown that I think, if we've worked it out, I'm not sure if we've worked it out yet, that is not a franchise or something like that, can put in for this grant. There are a couple other places, some of the churches and the theater might get a little money from us, but this is how we've decided.
Those are the outright grants.
Those are outright grants, right. This is how we as a town has decided to help our downtown businesses. Not every town is doing this, let me just tell you that. A lot of towns are just putting the money in the bank, saying we're using it for this COVID thing and just leaving it there. So we are taking a good chunk of change. I think it's 300,000?
Yeah, it's 300,000 for that program. The total we took out was like 375. The remainder, 200,000, was put actually in the budget for future surplus needs.
Right.
But yeah, so this is $270,000 to cover that program, some ancillary costs, because we can charge things that we charged against the CARES Act that has now ended against us too. So we have some money to do something.
Right.
So but yeah, most of this with us.
So we're putting, we got, I think, 600,000 in the first round. I think we're going to put almost half of that money towards our businesses downtown. So I thank the council up here. That's a big deal for us to do that. That's showing we believe in our downtown. We want to make it better. And I think it's a great program. I think I've already been contacted by a lot of businesses, thanking them that, if they don't get the grant, that we're even doing this. So that is all good news, and that's great stuff to hear. The last thing I have is on the catch basins. I'm just reminding residents, again, our DPW is stressed, and it's hard to get to. We've had a lot of rain. If you see a lot of debris on your catch basins, you should just clear it off, get rid of it, dump it in garbage, and get it out of there, because it does cause a little ponding of roads if you're in an area that has a backed up catch basin. So our DPW does go out and look, and they do it, but it's hard to get to every catch basin. We have a lot of them. So if you have one near your house, just check it, clean it off. It's not a big deal, and we move forward from there. Any questions for the administrator? Terry, any questions?
No, the only question I have, I've gotten some calls from constituents about the pickleball. So I was able to hear that we have pickleball lines, but do people need to bring their own nets?
No, they can use the net that's existing, Terry. That net is there. They can use that existing net.
So a pickleball use the same nets, but it's the courts are just shorter.
So they're ready for their use if they bring their rackets?
Yes.
Okay, and the lines are done, or they're going to be done?
No, they're done. They're done.
Done? Okay, thanks very much.
Okay. No other questions? Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comments. Councilman Day? Councilman Betty, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? I'm gonna take him in the back first. Step on him. Ah, you see? You touch your head.
Jeff Kynan, 1088 Ringwood Ave, Pompton Lakes. The request for the St. Mary's car wash, Saturday, September 21st is incorrect.
Yeah, I think that has to be the 18th.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the 18th and the 25th, I take that to be, because the 21st and the 25th are not both Saturdays.
Liz, are we aware of that, or?
I'm gonna check right now.
Yeah, I was gonna grab you, Liz.
I can pull it out of my folder here, too. It's in
It's the 25th. It's the 25th.
25th?
25th?
Okay,
And what's the rain date then?
I don't believe they have.
Well, it said the rain date.
They say the rain date is
Sorry, no,
September
September
25th.
18th, and the rain date is the
Yeah,
25th.
okay, that makes
Okay.
sense.
But the 25th is the date.
No, the 18th.
No,
18th.
18th is the date, and the 25th is the
Oh,
rain
okay.
date.
Okay. So it's just the 25th it's open, oh, 21st, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good catch.
It's awesome to see that you did that, cancellation of taxes for the 100% disabled veterans.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a big deal, it is a big deal. Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Randy Hinton, 443 Montclair Avenue. The issue at the Shade Tree meeting was talking about, I get the trends just to look to see what the public notices are. And, public notice for the Shade Tree Commission meeting says the meeting is on Zoom. Now, it's not on Zoom, we're live, we're here at the council chambers. I had brought it up last month.
Okay, go ahead, keep going. So, Liz, are you aware of that, or?
I didn't do the notes. I
Okay,
don't
that's
do
the
the
notes.
notes.
Excuse me? The notes are, this is in the public notices for all meetings. So it isn't Shade Tree, each committee and commission doesn't send in individual.
No, I know that, but initially, who put in the notice?
I don't know.
Hi, Ted.
Yeah, I don't know who sends
You'd
that
have to get in
notice.
touch with the Trends,
Yeah, the
because
trend
I
messed that
don't.
up then. We don't send it in.
Well, it's just incorrect for the public, and I'm just bringing it
All
up
right,
to your attention.
Liz, if we can look into it and
You
see.
know, whoever's
I don't know
responsibility
what's
is.
Yeah, we don't do that, it's not our thing.
So in other words, maybe the trends goes to the website.
They may, they,
So if they go to the website and they're getting it, if the website says it's on Zoom, then that's incorrect.
Okay, was Mike Corelli or your liaison made aware of that to change that?
Our liaison is Eric Delon.
All right, so was he made aware to change it on the
Yeah, but he
website?
said he doesn't know who does it either.
No, he's in charge of the website, or whoever takes care of our town website. I don't know, if somebody on your committee does that.
well, who posted it on
Right,
the
who posted
website?
it?
We'll have to look into that.
Right, if somebody
Our
who posted-
secretary doesn't do that.
Right, but I think
She does post, Randy.
somebody from your group, somebody
Yes,
from
she
your
does.
group posts on your
I
website.
just want to make note of that.
Yeah, so just speak out to your group and see if somebody.
So
did
if there's something incorrect on there, she has access to change. The
Okay,
secretaries maintain their own websites.
okay.
I don't maintain those. If they ask me to post something on the bulletin board or so forth, but they also send in their own notices
Okay,
to the newspaper, I don't do that.
all right, I'll clear that up with her then.
that. Okay.
Thank you. This is a question, we're talking about the, new ladder truck for 1.5 million if we got it today, but it might be 1.75 million if we get it tomorrow.
No, it's not true.
Just, are there any of the builders of the new apartment complexes, Councilwoman Riker, that, are kicking into this ladder truck, or are we, the taxpayer, paying for the whole thing?
They are.
I mean, we went through, you've changed a lot of ordinance, and you raised the height of the buildings, and so now, being the height is higher for these contractors and the complex that we're putting in, so now we will require a bigger ladder truck.
No, we don't, we're getting
a
the
lot
same,
of-
we're getting the same size ladder truck we have. We're just getting a bucket truck instead of a ladder truck. Same size. It's actually a little shorter, I think. A couple feet.
The buildings are higher.
I know, but the way the buildings are situated, they can go on back properties to get to the height they need. So the order that they put in is for the biggest building they can build in our town. That is smaller than the ladder truck that we have now. So the reason we're getting a new ladder truck is because they last about 20 to 25 years.
Yeah, we understand that.
And no, the developers are not paying for that. They are paying for that through a pilot. You know, our first year, once the pilot kicks in for the bigger project, is $350,000. So that money will be put towards the payment of that, yes.
Okay, but I mean, a lot of the contractors when in development do kick into the town to help.
Well, can you give me an example of that? You said a lot of the contractors. I would like to know.
Through the years, my experience, no, I cannot give you.
Okay, so I need an example. Thank you.
Years ago, Randy, developers maybe for that purpose. Now we have pilots that those have gone away. That pilot now serves that purpose.
All right,
So what happens now is that money gets put into an account, and the town has the right to use that money, appropriate money out of that account to the budget for debt service. Eventually, when there's enough money in that account, you start using that to offset either debt service or maybe buy things that cash. And that's what happened was you used to have a developer agreement, which would say you're going to contribute to or provide a fire truck.
right.
Now, the pilot kind of serves that purpose.
All right, so that did happen in the past. I'm not incorrect in that. Even if I don't have an exact example for the mayor tonight. Correct. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Were the trees pulled out of the rivers by DMK? I mean, we held off for the trout season. There was a couple of trees that fell in the Wanacue River.
He's on the back. We finished the James Terrace head wall. He's going to start working at the new access point down by the old Quonset house as soon as he has the opportunity.
And one was pulled off in Pequannock.
Was it?
On Garden Road, they did pull that one out. I know that.
Yeah, because I'd seen those two. There's one on the Ramapo River by the Old Barn Bridge.
All right, so if I don't know who has that list, flood advisory or.
Mrs. Bennett usually does that
Yeah,
for
so
flood
if they
advisory.
provide that to Dan, which I'm sure she has.
Well, I'm sure she has.
Yeah.
I was just curious question if it was done.
Well, some Dan can do and some he can't do. So the ones he can do, he will get to, and the ones he can't, we have to get somebody to do it.
Okay. I also saw on Facebook about the Katie Cole Park, and I'm going to try to be there at 11 o'clock. I know I can go there as a citizen. Am I allowed to go there as a representative of the shade tree or no?
No.
Okay. Just a curious question. I don't know.
But you can bring that information back to the shade tree. I mean,
Right.
as a citizen, you can bring that to the shade tree.
Okay. So I just don't want to overstep my bounds because
But I know
I've been known to do that.
we did have some trees removed there, correct, at that park?
Yes, and I pruned all the trees in the park. And there was a tree of the neighbors that fell over the fence,
Right, I
was
remember
laying
on that
into the
fence
park.
there, yeah.
And we had that cut right off at the neighbor's fence line and removed. So yes, as far as shade trees, we've been trying to do what we can.
Yeah, I think tree-wise, we're okay over there. I think it just needs to be spruced up a little better. That's
Right, it's just curious if they want us to plant new trees or whatever. That's
I don't know.
one of the reasons why.
I don't know even the plan that we have from the DPW, so I haven't seen that. I don't know. But
I haven't seen it either, so I haven't been.
I don't think it involves trees, I'll be honest, but
I think it's shrubs and
it's
stuff.
mostly shrubs, yeah, I think.
Okay, one other thing was, whatever happened to this PAL summer basketball that we had?
It's too bad you bring up a good question. So, basketball has been having issues getting people to run the league.
Right.
People who run the league, our own Councilman Begg here still helps run it.
Right.
Everybody's, Councilman Kent, his husband does it. Their kids are long gone, so they got nobody to run it, and they've reached a point where they got to make a decision. But football had stepped up, Pompton Lake Youth Organization, and said, look, we'd be willing to take basketball under football and rejuvenate the program, get some coaches in
It
there.
was such a great program.
It was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. So I think hopefully, I haven't talked to Councilman Kent or ex-Councilman Kent in a while. Maybe that's going to happen and it would rejuvenate it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you see all the basketball
Yep.
nets out there, they're
We
covered
had
in
some
weeds.
problems with the summer program over the last few years.
I mean, it was a great program.
My kids ran it. They loved it.
Night after night, the kids were having a good time.
Especially with COVID.
Well, of course, but I mean, and outside now, it's,
I don't want to, in general, I don't want to lose basketball in general.
right.
But unfortunately, they
The winter
couldn't get people.
program can continue on. The problem is we need to get new people on the board.
Right. Yeah, people have to step up to the plate.
Correct.
Exactly.
Of course, of course. Any update on the DEP on the Willow Avenue project?
Anything on that yet?
The update is that the DEP has given our engineer, recommendations to put together applications for various permits. Once I get those, we'll then apply. I'm sure it'll be a relatively expensive application process. I should have them next week. And then we'll know what the different permits are. What they are, typically, a whole myriad of permits we're working on those. But once we have that, we'll apply for permits. And those permits in hand, we can then go out and start the project. So I'm not going to take a while, but the organization is working remotely for the most part, and everything takes time.
Well, yeah, we understand it takes time. I was just looking for an update.
That's the update.
Thank you. Now, back in the winter, I had brought to, because you were talking, that's why.
Okay, I'm gonna give you that.
All right, back in the winter, the library, the cherry trees there. You had talked about working out a plan, the pine tree also, up
Well, we're
against the
gonna,
library.
obviously, that's a shade tree decision on what they want to do.
But
know.
you had said that you wanted to create a plan because you wanted to plant bigger trees.
Well, the bigger trees we will put in, first we have to remove what's there, so that's up to you guys how that's gonna happen. And then,
Anytime.
then you'll
Haven't
talk
got
to
the money.
Kevin about what size trees you'd like to get there, and we'll see if we can fit it in a budget. And then the, other tree, the large pine tree, we'll have to talk to the bid to see what their feeling is on that tree.
And
I don't
have
know, with the library itself, they're not touching that tree, right, with the library work? Okay. So we'd have to find out about that tree.
Okay, we just want to stay on top of it, because Christmas will be here before we know.
Yep.
And, you gotta talk to bid about getting an artificial tree for
If that's what they're gonna do.
Christmas stroll,
Right.
then, we have to stay on top of it.
Yeah, my opinion would be, and you know this more than anybody, would be a bigger tree, a real tree, but they're expensive to buy, a big evergreen that size, so, that's the problem. So we'll have to talk to the bid and see what they want.
The bigger tree would be cheaper than a ladder truck, I can tell you that.
But when your house is on fire and you need the ladder truck to get you out of there with the bucket
My
on
house
it.
ain't that.
No, let me explain what a bucket, and I learned this myself.
Okay.
A bucket truck means they can bend the bucket down and rescue you and your family out of a house without coming down a ladder and carrying you out on a ladder.
Listen,
More important, the bucket truck, especially during the day, is important to us because we have a shorter amount of manpower during the day.
right.
So, it's a safer way for even the firemen to operate.
I've been asking for a bucket truck for 9 years, and now we're gonna get one. I could use that.
Are you saving people with that bucket truck?
Saving trees, saves
A
people.
tree and a person is not the same
Save,
thing.
you take down a tree, it saves people, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Also, I was just curious about the vote on the boat. Is that in a closed session? And, when
I
you
don't
vote?
remember.
That was part of the capital budget.
Okay, but still the council voted on it, correct?
They voted on the whole budget, yes, capital budget, yes.
Oh, you vote on the budget, you don't vote on that individually?
No.
It was part of the capital budget.
All right, because I noticed in the police report that Councilman Begg gave, there were no problems on the lake.
When you say there's no problems, like, we have rescues on the lake.
He just said
He doesn't
there's no
list it as when we have a rescue in the woods, it doesn't say rescue in the woods. It says rescue, or it says we had this. It doesn't break it down to where the rescue was.
Okay, and the final thing I would like to say is that, from Mrs. Kent's report about the ATVs running around, we could use the police ATVs, and maybe they could catch those ATVs.
We could try, we've tried it, but they run, they go.
Well, we can get police ATVs.
But they gotta be
Along with
faster.
the police.
They gotta be faster than the ATVs that they
Just
have.
get super ATVs.
Could you start a committee on that, please?
Have a good night.
Thank you.
I don't think that's fast pursuit.
Privilege of the floor, does anybody have, I'm sorry, motion to close the public session.
Motion?
Councilwoman
Riker.
Councilwoman Riker, all in favor?
Aye.
Against, privilege of the floor, anybody privilege of the floor?
Mayor, I have one comment. I don't think anyone reminded that tomorrow there's another bid concert on the library lawn.
Correct, yes, thank you. And they've been very well attended, actually. The concerts have been very good. Oh, yes, so there is a bid concert tomorrow at 7:30 at the library lawn. Any other privilege of the floor? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Good night, good night.